Yes, that was from Haifa. It was from that Kul Galim, Kfash Galaim, Bat Galim. I was vacating Bat Galim when I was in Israel, both last time and all the previous times. I've been to Bat Galim. Bat Galim is Galim, I don't know the meaning of that, but Bat is daughter. Yes, so today saw some lightning, and I think the thoughts are lightning, strokes of lightning. Maybe I would go back, talk a little bit more about the ceasefire now. And I thought after doing this video, it didn't really went well, but I keep it. I think ceasefire now is a perverted moral, a perversion of morality. UN is condemning Israel, and they couldn't condemn what Hamas did. They couldn't condemn. Even there were many countries that was agreeing with that it was a horrendous act. Some countries just rejected, couldn't condemn Hamas, and I think one of them was Russia. And when you have such countries in the UN, they just derail the whole notion of moral and ethics, mostly moral. And when you have journalists, of course, there is an obvious case in Gaza. If you are a doctor, if you are a nurse, if you are, if you have some important job, like a journalist, they will be scrutinized by Hamas. And the pure notion that I don't want to deny what is happening in Gaza. If it's 10,000 or more, I don't deny it, but you need to have some independent source that is not biased to Hamas nor to Israel. It should be an independent source that is conveying the true fact. But media, Western media, seems to be way over their decency. Just to grip to any information that dramatize the whole thing. Because they are not talking about that Hamas is hiding behind civilians. They don't. And why they don't? It's their ethical moral that is completely wasted. Why wouldn't a journalist convey that fact that Hamas is in hospitals, is in private homes, is in schools, is in mosques, and maybe also churches? I don't know whether it's a synagogue in... I heard of this synagogue where the Gush Katif settlers were at. the synagogue was converted to a chicken house. They didn't demolish the synagogue. They used it as a chicken house to brew chickens. I don't know. They like chickens. And Western media seems to be totally okay with the scrutinization of them by Hamas. Everyone that doesn't contradict what Hamas intend to say or do, it's a conundrum. Here Hamas is going into civilian homes. None from Gaza that is working in Gaza as a journalist condemn this act. They don't even talk about it. The people cheered and celebrated the win of Hamas. So I wonder how people can demand one-sided ceasefire now on Israel's side. It's because of all the sufferings and killings? No. It's Hamas that is conveying this need of ceasefire because they want to let some hostages free. I feel it is a little bit odd to talk about this in so basic lines that I do. Everyone should have some decency. At least UN should have, United Nations should have this decency that you don't slaughter people. It is what Jews experienced in the Second World War. Holocaust is well known. And to slaughter civilians, and you can't condemn it, it is just this horrendous mentality, horrendous moral, not only from Hamas, that is kind of obvious, but it is from the UN, United Nations. Don't condemn the Hamas doing. They now condemn, of course, Israel for what they are doing. They are harming civilians, they are aiming at civilians, and they need to stop. But I think they all know what is happening. All know that Hamas is using the civilians as human shield. Everybody knows. And here I'm talking just to get you to understand the moral stretch there is to do in order to not condemn this kind of act. I can't, for the best of me, understand it. It is so far out that United Nations side with Hamas in asking for ceasefire. Why is it? If that's the right number, the 10,000 killed, why is that? Why is that Israel, when it fights back, all the civilians are destined to die? And you don't talk about Hamas warriors. Now we know the intention of Hamas is to have all these enemy and attack on Israel constantly. Israel, that is their agenda. Israel should undergo in the future constant enemy attack from all sides. Hezbollah Fatah in the so-called West Bank, and Hamas in Gaza. That is a declared and openly conveyed agenda that they have. And they are not shy about that. That is straight out a lie. I saw a picture of one of the Hamas leaders kissing a journalist that was together with the Hamas terrorists and conveyed the attack in a way that he must have known what was happening and had no decency to warn a journalist that CNN and BBC are using. His information is then scrutinized and found valid by BBC and CNN. That's how bogus this Western media is. And who is following BBC and CNN? Of course, you have this NRK in Norway. You have all around the globe so anemic against Israel. It's just we can just sit down and cry. Why can't UN understand the Israel need for defense its own civilians? It can't tolerate a terrorist group holding 240 hostages, elderly, children, military, youngsters, and handicapped, people with different diagnosed, like Alzheimer, like some pneumonia, Holocaust survivors. It is just so horrendous what is happening with this world today. And the ceasefire now is just a blow against Israel and a pressure on Israel. All the pressure from the Western, not only media, but politicians are on Israel. All eyes are on Israel. What Israel is doing in all its own details. Now, I think the Western media got a blow because they have used terrorist sympathizer, and he was active in this onslaught 7th of October, and he was praised by Hamas's top leader. He was honored as a hero. How he portrayed the case for Hamas. Oh, now they have won a big victory in that regard. Even now, Israel is now counting all of those terrorists that has fallen, that is killed, that is put out of his own pity life. Now they are rats in their bunkers. They are the rats. It's just so horrendous, my friends. I can't really argument here. I can't even reflect soberly. This is going around and around. This is ongoing all the time. And I am asked, why do you continue? Why do you engage? But as I answered, when I'm silent, my bone weakens. I can't be silent for the unjust. Even with my mouth, my tongue, my words, my boring speech, I can't be silent. Even me, as a simpleton in the whole global universe, I'm crying out for justice. Why shouldn't justice be applied to Israel and Jews? Why is only just cruelly perverted in order to condemn Israel? As no one did anything wrong. Israel is the aggressor. That is ceasefire for you. I'm really shocked to the core when the world is celebrating this horrendous act. Now they are praising Hamas. People, Jewish people all around the globe is hunted, and you are silent. Your bone will be weakened. You are just like jelly. You have no dignity. You have no honor. I talked about dignity, but I regret that. It's about just honor, moral, ethics. You have no backbone in those. You have only a backbone of jelly that bend over for the strongest in that time. But despite all the suffering and onslaught on Israel as a people, Jews, they will survive. It's a promise of God. And I was reminded today that Israel is the chosen people. But we stop there. As Israel is a superior state, as someone that is way better or more than anyone else. No. I think what they said, the Jewish themselves say, that they are chosen people to undergo such and such. Yes, to be a sign for every people on this globe. Now, people in the modern age, from 19 to 20, 1900, and now it's 2023. I think Israel still exists, just because God promised to keep them. They are not perfect. We see that in the Bible. The Bible is such a book. It doesn't cover up. It doesn't hide anything. Even the prophets that I was talking about was killed by Jews, by Israel. The kings of Israel killed the prophets because the prophet didn't talk to Afghanistan or Norway or Kenya. No, the prophets talked about Israel, how to govern Israel. And the criticism that started with the prophets have never stopped. And that was pure words of truth. And they were, even back in those days, they were talking about the false prophet. I can be the false prophet here, but my heart is in the right place. As a TV series here in Norway goes by a British channel. The heart is in the right place. You need a heart that is positioned in a right place. And if you do wrong, I have some that I know that say I never do any wrong because I don't intend to do any wrong. But that doesn't cover it. You can't excuse your way around away by saying my intention was pure. And I think, as they say, good intentions is the pathway to hell, because you may intend good, and that is a pity excuse. So my headline is a little bit awkward. Ceasefire now. I know, I feel that, but I keep it because it is just a mockery of what is right. Ceasefire now express how horrendous attitude people have against Israel. Even Christians. I want to talk about Christians because they are silent now. They can't speak out and they are afraid. Why are they afraid? I think they are afraid that they may be killed for speaking out. They may be criticized for speaking out, and they are afraid that Israel may have some swines in its forest. Is expression here in Norway. Svin på skogen, it is swines in the forest. Or some agendas, bad agendas. That Israel, you can't really defend Israel because you don't really know. But by not defending Israel, you support Hamas. You support the evildoers from other countries that want to wipe out Israel and wipe out Jewish people. So the Christians need to get their act together. Has to be clear. The Christians need to speak out. If not, their bones will be weakened. When I silence myself, my bones went weak. It's a depression. I should have a different topic, I know, but I believe that topic will make people more interested in this. Have Hamas stopped the attack? No. Have Hamas given out the hostages? No, they haven't. And they use them as a bargaining chip in order to crack Israel, because Israel cares for human life. That's why they are now going in, taking out all the Hamas's positions. And as they say, it is a fearful fight. A lot of casualties. And Hamas, where are they? They are either underground or in private or official buildings, like hospitals, like schools, and so on. And Hamas they are not uniformed, they are in civilians. Hamas wanted the ceasefire because they want to reorganize themselves. And everyone is crying for a ceasefire now because of the humanitarian crisis. And you may think that I am immoral to support Israel's stand. But Israel is giving now a way out of this northern part of Gaza City. Israel is the one that is saving life. Hamas, until Israel came in, Hamas were killing those civilians. And do they care? No, because they openly say the civilians is UN's responsibility. Not Israel. They don't say blame it on Israel, they blame it on UN. So why doesn't UN act on that? It should be kind of exploring that argument, where that come from, and if all the countries that are sending fundings to Gaza really knew what those fundings were all about, and they are talking about the human sufferings in Gaza, while Hamas is taking all the goods and money, that is just, and blame it on Israel. That is how you deal with this moral code of yours. How can you blame Israel when even Israel is giving the majority of electricity, the water, and sourcing into Gaza all the goods and food they need, and still it is human suffering? No wonder the people is suffering, since Hamas is taking it all. How can you blame that on Israel? I think it need to be a UN demolishing. I think the UN today need to be demolished. It's I need to take down UN, because it is so biased. It's so hostile to Israel. UN need to be set aside, because why? You don't ask yourself this question. Why is UN so hostile to Israel in the first place? If it's not for the bias case that since Gaza receives so much help and money, Norway is the leading country for these sources. Why doesn't Norway ask where does all the fundings go? Since it is a human constant fixed state that the human suffering is so high in Gaza. No one is asking, not even the Western media. Why is it human sufferings in Gaza? And since we hear here and there that Hamas is exploiting that, how come the journalist wouldn't ask such a question? So my friends, I have been cleaning this house today. I do it every Thursday, and we need to repeat good acts, and to repeat this by blessing, giving a shalom to Israel. And I wish the same shalom to Israel will be blown over to all the nations of the world, to repent and give themselves what to say. I only say shalom to Israel, and be blessed.